Do what scares you. I shouldn't say scare. That's kind of a clickbaity title here. Maybe do what challenges you would be a better word. I feel like I'm doing another video like I did before the Fat Ox 24 hour because, spoiler alert, again, my motto, any service, any distance, we're taking another stab at that 24-hour event, a 24-hour timed event. My next race this weekend on Saturday. Today, of course, is Wednesday, May 7th, 2025, and it's been less than 3 weeks after Boston, so it's a tight turnaround. And to go from road marathon training to an ultra, my hope though is that since this is a flat ultra, and it's literally flat, it's a 400-meter outdoor track, some high school track outside of Philadelphia, Sharon Hills, PA. We're going to for the dawn to dusk to dawn, D3. Yeah, dawn, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. to dusk at night, to through the night to 7 a.m. again. We're hopefully going to be able to run an entire 24 hours around and around a 400-meter track. It scares the crap out of me, I'm not going to lie, and it scares me for a variety of reasons. And again, you know, why I challenge myself, why I do these things, I don't know, but it keeps me interested in the sport. And coming off of Boston, you know, I felt pretty good, but there's been some setbacks since then. It's been a tight turnaround. I knew this was coming. I signed up for this after I signed up for Boston. The reason why, there's a couple constraints. I'm trying to still do well at a 24-hour event, and there's actually a potential, this is if I finish and do really well, that you could qualify for the U.S. Team, the national team, to go to Worlds. There's a 24-hour World Championship in France at the end of the year, but the qualifying window for the U.S. team ends in the end of May, basically. So this is like my last-ditch effort attempt. Otherwise, I would wait a little bit longer after the Boston Marathon to do this grueling, strenuous event that's totally humbled me. And so there's three big reasons why this really scares me, and it's, you know, it's kind of personal. Maybe you found in your own running, moving up in distance is scary, moving from roads or track to more technical trails could be scary. Doing a race in another country, another time zone, another state could be a big challenge. Maybe there's other life circumstances, new job, family life changes, dynamics, not getting enough sleep, injury, illness, stuff like that. So the first big challenge, of course, is probably my track record, pun intended. My record of doing, I'd say, over 100K distance ultras. Obviously done pretty well at a lot of 50-mile, 80K events, 50Ks. I've won some 100K events. I've done well at 100K, but I'm always like, feel like I'm falling apart the last 30K or the last 15K of 100K, the last 20, 30 miles sometimes. But, you know, 100K has been okay. The few 100-milers that I have tried, and I've had terrible records doing 100-milers at, you know, I finished Western States, but it was a puke fest, went really aggressive, 11th at Western States in 2016. One time I did that, you know, I dropped out of Run Rabbit Run with hypothermia. I couldn't finish UTMB for a variety of reasons, 4 times over the years. And the one time I did finish UTMB 100-miler, I basically walked it in and did a 26-hour effort, a really slow time. It was cold and snowy that year. But, you know, the only 100 that I actually kind of finished semi-strong was probably the TDS 92-miler in Chamonix a couple years ago. And I was quite proud of that, because getting 12th at TDS, not the most stacked field, but I actually finished pretty strong and held it together, even though I had all these low points in the race. Whereas usually when I do hundreds and things start going bad, they go really bad and I just fall apart or drop out. So TDS in the mud, more technical 100, a lot of climbing in Chamonix. Did conquer that one a couple years ago. Of course, my friend Steven Ganoza was there documenting, filming. Check out his channel, Steven Ganoza, also the Serious Show. But I digress. 100-mile distance has not been my strongest event historically, and we're asking about going hopefully way over 100 miles, 170K, in this 24-hour event. I want to actually go significantly more than that, over 150 miles at least in this 24-hour event. So that's a really tall order. Last time I tried at Fat Ox 24-hour on the pavement in November of 2024, I only made it 12 hours basically, and I dropped out after only doing about 88 miles. So really tall order there. So that's the number one challenge or reason why I'm scared is that history. Number two reason why I'm kind of scared is my coming off of Boston so soon. I think being in good runnable speed shape, being in good marathon shape is always good. Going into an ultra, especially if it's a runnable ultra, it's not a crazy mountain race. Obviously, I'd be really screwed if it was a lot of vertical. But, you know, Boston Marathon is a lot different. A road marathon is a lot different still than a super long ultra, right? You're working your metabolism different. You've got to hydrate and do nutrition a lot different. You're running through all day and all night. You know, a 2.5 hour race, 2:26 at Boston versus running for 24 hours straight. Kind of a different dynamic, different pace ranges, different mechanics. It works your legs muscles differently. And my recovery since Boston has not been stellar. It was a great experience. I obviously had a solid race at Boston. Happy with that. 2:26, good weather day. I wish I kind of placed a little better, but you know, I had limited training off of Boston or going into Boston, and I wish, you know, I did a lot of skimo training this winter. Didn't do as much running as I usually would do, and I think that kind of hurt me. I feel like if I go back to doing a more serious, flat, fast road marathon, I could maybe run in the low 220s again, but I'd have to run at least 80 miles a week consistently, maybe 90, 100 miles a week like I used to get my legs used to that power and pounding of the pavement and the fast speeds. Now, that doesn't always translate great to ultras, what I found. And of course, any service, any distance, it's a tall order to try to pull off these changes really fast. I realize that. I'm flawed. I've made mistakes putting myself out there, especially going from, I think it's harder actually to go from mountain races back to flat races. So, you know, coming off UTMB and then trying to qualify for the Olympic Trials Marathon. Back in some of those years, I was bouncing around, Speed Goat 50K, you know, 219 marathon here and there. But I digress. You know, the change in training, or the lack of training, not super specific. That being said, how do you train for 24 hours on a track? I don't know. I don't have all the answers. I've obviously haven't mastered 20 ultras, 100 milers on the trails, but I'm hoping my experience on the track, my flat running ability, and doing track workouts at least, can help me a little bit. I think mentally it's going to be really boring. I can't listen to music, and there's going to be a lot of lappage going on, maybe both ways. So, you know, hopefully the porta pot's close to the track too, like to have convenient stops. But I'm worried about my leg muscles blowing out like they did at FADOX. My quads were totally destroyed halfway in, and I couldn't even walk anymore. So I pulled the plug there. So skeletal muscular fatigue, definitely a huge issue, as well as GI distress. You know, you could start getting GI distress once the stomach goes. It could get really bad. Weather's looking pretty solid though in Philly this weekend on Saturday. Not supposed to rain, so I'm happy with that. And the third reason, and this will be the end of the video here, the third reason why I'm really scared going into this race is, like I said, the recovery from Boston wasn't great. I actually had a great experience traveling out to Big Sur. Got to watch a lot of people running the Big Sur Marathon and coaching programs with Hoka. But between all the travel, maybe I drank a little too much beer celebrating after Boston too. I ended up getting sick with a bit of an illness after I came back from all this travel from California last week. So I was kind of down for the count. I'm feeling closer to 100%. I will not say I'm at 100% right now. You could maybe hear it in my voice, but had some, you know, tried to sleep in more, have barely been running. I forced myself to go skiing up on the mountain once, and that was very draining for me. But my legs are extra rested now. Again, barely been running. The fever broke. My headaches are almost gone. Nasal congestion. I don't think... The good thing about these 24-hour events and my goals and the pace is that hopefully my heart rate and my breathing is so low that that's not a limiting factor as much. So, you know, if I have a little nasal congestion, feel a little under the weather, that's fine. I'm more worried about my leg muscles, like my hip flexors and quads and calves blowing out or having, you know, there's probably going to be major chafage, let's be real. But having, like, you know, stomach issues, puking, diarrhea, having to do pit stops, bathroom stops, energy balance. You could see some of my spread there. I got some solid food plans, some Taco Bell as well, some salty, savory things, chips, soup, pasta, stuff like that, bread. But definitely trying to fuel hard with the carbs and the gels, obviously. I got some of those Morton bars and staying hydrated. But Yeah, it's going to be an experiment. It always is. It's going to be a big adventure. Maybe Sandy will do some updates on her Instagram at Sandy Night Paver. Follow her on Instagram. So she could do some live updates, maybe the race. We'll get some clips around the track. My parents are going out, so really thankful for all the support. It's going to be really boring. I can't imagine watching a runner come around every 400 meters for a whole day. If I can make it that long. So number one goal, try to keep running as much as possible for 24 hours. Finish the event out. Then we're going to try to go well over 150 miles. We'll see if that happens. Again, a real tall order and something that I'm experimenting in. But like I said, any surface, any distance. We're doing the track distance again. I told people on a podcast the other day, I'm not racing less than 10K on a track anymore. Those days are gone back in college. I ran a lot of 5Ks and 10K PRs on the track. Not racing that anymore, couldn't PR there, but why not do an ultra marathon on the track, 24 hours? So that's kind of the goal here, and we'll see how it goes. I'm going to take a big swing. I'm going to swing for the fences. Could be an epic failure again. I almost pulled out just because of my illness and how I felt, but I'm going to give it a go because it's a last-ditch effort, last-ditch attempt, and we'll keep you updated on that. But really thankful for all the support on here. Of course, Patreon for keeping this YouTube channel alive. Title sponsor, Hoka, keeping the dream alive. Got some shoe changes coming up. New shoes coming out from Hoka. So really appreciate all their support. Again, check out our training plans at higherrunning.com. We've had a lot of success, especially with getting people to sub 3-hour marathons, Boston qualifying marathons, half marathons. We got 5K, 10K plans, ultra marathon plans. Coach Sandy has helped develop, and through her coaching experience and extensive development, she actually has done really well out of a lot of 100-mile distance races, even finishing in the money at Run Rabbit Run last year, and she's been training hard for ultra. So check out Sandy's channel, Running Wild. Thanks for all the support on here. Again, hope your running's doing well. Let me know in the comments how you're doing, what kind of goals you have at the end of spring here, at least in the Northern Hemisphere, what you're training for, or how your running is going. So really appreciate all the support. Hope you're doing well, and stay tuned for more VO2 Max Productions.